What's up, guys? Swift here. We have our biggest OTA update of the offseason today, including Caleb Williams leading the team downfield for a game winning drive in the 2 minute drill, and a ton of other tidbits. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Before I talk about practice, Matt Eberflus talked about how the team was doing a team building activity yesterday. We remember back in 2022 when they went to Wrigley Field and did a home run derby. And then last year they went to the United Center and had a 3-point contest. This is Matt Eberflus's way of building team chemistry and letting the guys get more comfortable with each other in fun, competitive situations that aren't related to football. This year they did a golf tournament, and the guy who won it was Cairo Santos, Mr. Clutch. Cairo also kicked the game-winning field goal in today's 2-minute drill. Big day for Cairo. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about practice. You guys are going to want to hear this one. First off, on offense, we were missing Nate Davis and Keenan Allen today, but both are expected to be back to practice next week. Meanwhile, our number one pick, quarterback Caleb Williams, had an awesome practice and was the star of the day. Coach Eberflus even singled him out and said he looked great in 7-on-7 drills. He only had one incomplete pass all day in 7-on-7s, and that happened on the final rep of the day. He went 14 for 15. Caleb was showing off his arm talent all day against the defense that was missing most of the starting secondary. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, and Kevin Byard were all excused from practice today. This led to Caleb Williams carving up the defense all day long. He threw a deep touchdown pass to DJ Moore and another deep completion down the sideline, while also showing off his budding connection with Rome Odunze. A great way to end practice today for Caleb, leading the team on a 2-minute drive, getting the win, and having a great day overall. Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, and DeAndre Swift stood out. As fans, it's important to not overreact one way or the other when it comes to Caleb Williams' adjustment to the NFL. There are going to be ups and downs, and I know we live in a microwave society where people want instant results, but especially when it comes to practices and non-padded practices at that, I just think it's imperative that we keep a level head here and take all of these reports with a grain of salt. There's no reason to overreact one way or the other when it comes to Caleb Williams' practices, but today was his best day so far. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Austin Booker and the young defensive ends got a lot more reps today, as we were also missing both of our starting defensive ends as well, with Montez Sweat not in the building and DeMarcus Walker being sick. Montez has been here for most of the offseason program, but he was not here this week. He is expected to rejoin the team next week for mandatory minicamps. I already mentioned the DBs that were missing in action today. Flus said it was not an off day for those guys. They just had separate excuses and family stuff going on, or it was a senior skip day for our secondary. Either way, today was a win for the offensive side of the ball. Darnell Wright was back on the field, and it was good for Tyreek Stevenson and Terrell Smith to get some starting reps together in the secondary. There were also multiple interviews on the Chicago Bears YouTube page today. If you missed those, be sure to check them out. DeAndre Swift praised Caleb Williams. Tremaine Edmonds talked about how they were building something special in Chicago and how these guys are excited to show the world when they're featured on Hard Knocks this summer. But on top of that, Tremaine also talked up Gervon Dexter. He said he's playing his tail off. He's in great shape, and you can see the work he put in this offseason. His mindset is he's locked in. You guys know I'm a huge fan of big Gervon Dexter. I love hearing Tremaine hype him up. I have a video in the works for release at some point in this summer, but Gervon Dexter is my breakout player for 2024. Oh, and another point, Coleman Shelton was the starting center today. He has been rotating with Ryan Bates. I'll talk more about that soon. But another really interesting tidbit was Coach Hightower talking about competition Thursdays. It was really a good listen. I always like hearing Coach Hightower speak, and we all know that teams are limited on how competitive they can be in practice, especially in the early OTAs without contact or pads. But Hightower and the coaching staff have gotten really creative and found other ways to crank up the competition. From family feud style classroom competitions to on field battles like races and other things like workouts and athletic testing. Just different things the coaching staff is doing to really heat up the competition in this locker room. That was really interesting to hear, but overall, it was a solid week of practice. And I know a lot of fans have complained that we haven't seen enough footage out of Hallis Hall, but there was a ton of stuff released today. I did my best to include as much of it as I can in this video, but Hard Knocks will also have our back on that. We're going to get to see behind the scenes and things we've never gotten to see before. I can't wait for Hard Knocks. Next week, we have mandatory OTAs, and Coach Eberflus has already said he expects full attendance from the roster. We are about 6 weeks away from training camp. If you guys want to go to training camp this year, make sure you have the Bears app on your phone because tickets go fast. But we've now wrapped up the second week of OTAs, and the bottom line and the theme of the day is that the Bears are building something special in Chicago. I've been talking about it for 2 years. The first year, they were laying the foundation. Last year, they were adding to that foundation, but it's been a process of this rebuild all along. The Panthers giving us the number one pick and landing Caleb Williams, and then having Rome Odunze fall to pick number 9 and somehow getting two of the best three players in the entire draft was just the absolute cherry on top of this offseason. But the guys in the locker room feel the exact same way that I do. They're excited to show the world what they are building in Chicago. I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. It's just a special, special time to be a Chicago Bears fan. I wasn't alive the couple of years before the 1985 Super Bowl, but I wasn't even this hyped in 2003 through 2006 when we were building that team. Yes, there was a ton of talent on that team, but it is different now, and we are really building something special. That's it for today, guys. Apologies for the late video. Had a really long day. Special shout outs to CC and Will Wright for the help. Appreciate everybody who watches. Remember to hit that like button for me. And until next time, bear down.